Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, PattSun, and today we're going to be taking a look at r/TrueOffMyChest, where we see a bunch of catty hoes got put in their place by a Giga Chad. Let's begin. My colleagues called me a pick-me girl and spread rumors about me, which greatly affected my self-image. Posted by a throwaway Reddit account.
I, 24 female, am flight attendant at a certain Middle Eastern company. I got a visa to China because there we have the best flights, long flight, long layover, the best passengers. Every flight attendant will know why. Anyhow, because it requires visa, many colleagues are lazy to get it, so only few of us are frequent on bidding for lanes to China. It happens that one of the first officers is always bidding to China because, as I said, best flight. I happen to be very often with almost the same group of crew plus pilot plus first officer every month at least once. First officer is a young handsome man and ladies have an eye on him. We were sitting once at the airport waiting for our plane to arrive. We were going to take a plane from another crew who would be on layover until the next group arrives, and I was playing games on my console. First officer noticed and he sat next to me and started to ask me what I play beside this. And that's how our little friendship started. He would always sit near me and watch me play, and we started bringing our laptops to game in the lobby of our hotel because it has good internet and we have 2 to 3 days layover in Beijing. Nothing much to do after you've been many times. Anyhow, as we started to talk about games, ladies started to interrogate me about the nature of our relationship. Then last week, we were again in the lobby, internet was good, we played a certain 5-on-5 game you all know. We sat across each other in 4 people separate. 2 ladies from the crew came and sat with us, one sat beside me, another sat next to him. They started to talk to us and we barely answered because we were focused. They were questioning him mostly. They'd ask me something too. Then after we both died in game, I asked them to please leave us alone and come after the match is done, which will be in around 40 to 50 minutes, then they can talk. I indicated that I would leave and they can talk to first officer. They got a bit shocked by my reaction, but they left. After the match was done, I said I'm going back to my room. He said he will go too. I told him girls will look for him. He said, and I quote, "Yeah, I better go then." And we both left to our respective rooms. The next day, all the girls gave me the cold shoulder. They were talking passive-aggressively to me, and when we were in the lobby kind of area after breaking our fast, someone brought sweets and fruits. I took a sour apple and some other sour fruits. I get pimples from sweets. First officer told me that it's a weird choice for dessert, and that's when one of the ladies said in front of the whole crew in very sarcastic tone, "Yeah, that's because she's so special, so different, not like us other girls." And another one rolled her eyes very aggressively and almost yelled, "Did he pick you already?" Very awkward. This shocked me so much that I don't even recall what happened afterwards. Anyway, the women didn't talk to me now at all, and I also heard rumors that I am sleeping with the first officer, which is not true at all. One of male crew told me that they told him how I sent 2 girls away and told them to come back later, but before they returned, I took the first officer to my room. Not true. This all makes me not want to go on my flights. It makes me want to change route even though this one is really the best for me. For days I feel like I have a rat in my stomach, and I am watching short videos on pick-me girls and I feel like crying. At first I didn't let it get to me, but it got to me. I want to rip off my skin and crawl under my bed. I feel like throwing up all the time. Now for OP's first update. Oh my god, you guys. This whole situation spiraled more than I could have even imagined. The small thing became an avalanche. So someone commented how these women could make up stuff about me stealing and other things that could get me in serious troubles. So I eventually decided to text first officer to call me ASAP because he was operating a flight at the time and that there's an important matter we need to discuss. When he called me, I told him that XYZ people are spreading stories about us sleeping together during a layover. He said that he knows about it and that he dealt with it. I was confused. Asked what does he mean by that? He said that he wrote a letter to the management. In this letter, he addressed the fact that a certain crew member, me, was being verbally harassed by another flight attendant on that flight. He noted how he actually warned them politely and privately. I had no idea about that. And that captain actually gave him permission to do it in his name. When the harassing continued, he also found out from 3 male crew members, including cabin manager and 1 flight deck member, pilot in command, that each one of them was personally told by these women that first officer slept with me during layover that week. Not only was he angry that they continued to do this to me, he was actually personally offended by the slander, especially that they accused us during the holy month of Ramadan. He wrote a letter and made all above-mentioned crew members and pilot sign it. Captain put his stamp on it, and first officer did too. He told me that slandering a woman and man, but mainly woman, without 4 male witnesses is actually a crime in the country where we are based, and he had all then present men sign. They couldn't make them testify against us, but for us. And our company's policy is that if there's a criminal lawsuit, not a civil lawsuit, filed against any of the flight operating employees, their contracts will be terminated without further notice. So he wrote in the letter that he requests these crew members be banned from international layovers for 6 months and that they operate standby. You don't have a specific lane schedule. You must be ready 12 hours of each day to be called to any random flight, but for them, only domestic. You have 1 hour to appear at the airport. Also, you're paid much less. This is hell, by the way. He then continued to say that management has only 3 options: to do as he requested, to terminate them right away, or to do nothing and have him file the lawsuit and their contracts will be terminated by default. And if he does file a lawsuit, people who made up adultery story might get 6 months in jail. He copied the letter, had men sign each one of them. He sent 1 copy to each guy and to the management. He kept the original. He told me that management will call me after Eid and that I confirm everything they ask me and that he will send me a copy of the letter as well. I am beyond shocked. I am petrified. All I did was my job and play games in my paid free time. I never had any intentions to be part of someone's termination or lawsuit, and I had no idea how seriously he took this matter. Too seriously. I am literally beyond shocked right now and scared as well. I don't feel my legs and I'm shaking. I threw up after the call ended. I also asked him why the hell did he take such drastic measures. He said that I am unaware of what these stories can do to our reputation and if they reach wrong ears, even more than just reputation. And he said, they made you cry, it's not drastic enough. Now for OP's second update. You guys, so much happened these days, I don't even know where to start. Also, I am sorry this is very anticlimactic story, not what most of y'all probably wanted to hear, and I am sorry I didn't answer everyone's messages. I got no time. 2 parts of update. First update about colleagues. I got a call. Management didn't make me much fuss. They decided to let them go because they cannot keep someone who did an actual crime, and that first officer seems to hold grudges. By the way, I'm on good terms with the woman from management with whom I talked to, and she informally told me that management knows that first officer will make them trouble. So it's cheaper to let go of them now than to have to deal with him in the future. Update 2, personal, since some of you really wanted to know and sent private messages. Okay, so basically, I had flight on Tuesday to Germany and had layover till Thursday. During this flight and layover, I was not with first officer on flight as we never get flight together outside of China lane. However, cabin manager, let's call him guest director, GD for short, is one of my bosses on flight who sometimes is on lane for China. He is with us like 40 to 30% of the time. Anyway, when this entire situation happened, pretty much the entire group that goes to China frequently found out about what happened, and it was clarified that first officer and I are not together. Anyway, on my layover in Munich, I was again doing as I usually do, gaming in the lobby when GD came over. He watched me play and we talked a bit. When I finished the match, he asked me if I would like to go bowling with him. We were always distant friendly on flights. He would sometimes be with us in the lobby, but we never spent one-on-one time. Anyway, I left my room, got ready, met him in lobby at around 8:30 p.m. We went, did bowling till like 10:30, then he suggested we go eat something. Blah blah, I'll spare you the details. GD asked me to confirm to him if I was with first officer. I told him no, and why is he asking? He said he liked me from one event that happened a while ago, won't go into detail, but he said he always thought that I was actually with first officer, but nobody brought it up. Turns out everyone just thought that. I was a bit stunned for a moment. I told him that I am flattered. He asked me if I liked him. I told him that I do find him attractive and charming, which he really is, but that right now I am going through a lot of stress and he caught me off guard. He was very chill about it. He continued to flirt with me throughout the night in a very non-pushy manner. Very light, almost playful flirts. We saw each other again on Friday. Friday night comes, I'm at home, I did some gaming. First officer was online with 3 other people. I entered the call, we did little gaming, didn't talk much. He was very reserved, answered shortly. I later called him privately to ask what's up. He says he's busy right now. I ask him to call me back when he's done. He did not. Sunday, we have China Lane. On the flight, he didn't acknowledge me. During layover, I was alone. He did not appear in the lobby. So I tried calling him, no answer. I went to reception, asked first officer's room number as they already know us well. She gave it to me in trust. I go to his room and not gonna lie, on the way over there, I was nervous what or whom I'll find in his room. I knock, he's alone. I asked him if there's something wrong, he says that there is. I asked him to talk, he told me to go away from his room and wait for him in the lobby. Anyhow, I asked him what is up, why is he being distant? He says he thinks it's inappropriate for him to be around me furthermore. I was confused. He then explained everything by simply asking me if I had a fun time in Munich. I felt like I am in a relationship and just got caught cheating. I ask him what does that have to do with anything and who told him about it. He tells me that it has everything to do with it and that unlike, he says word in his language, which is basically an insult to a man, like calling another man not man, GD, he does not run after a woman who is with another guy. Turns out he knew about Munich, he knew about our date in base, and he was bitter about it, plus it appears that GD and first officer have some beef from before. I asked him if he viewed me more than just a friend, he gave me a look of you stupid or something, and asked me if I was kidding. I told him I genuinely had no idea. He then brought up a bunch of stuff he did for me that, when he says it, does make it obvious, but when you're being me, it wasn't obvious. I asked why he never told me. He said he made such obvious moves around me and I never reciprocated, not even a bit, and when I went with GD with no hesitation, no thought how it might look to him, he figured I had no interest in him and wanted the other guy, so he simply left me alone. I told him that I was not with the GD. He told me that had it been just random one time on layover going out, okay, but I went again when I reached base. I obviously was into him. I just stared at him. I mumbled that I am not with him and that nothing had happened, and he got annoyed. He snatched my phone from the table, unlocked as he knew the password, opened the first active social media app and found GD's chat right at the top. He turned the phone, showed me and said, last text 40 minutes ago. That's all I need to know. I won't be anyone's afterthought. I was shocked to say the least, still am. This guy does not look like someone who would go for me at all. I stupidly asked him if that's it. He said that's it. I was dumbfounded and I don't know why. I just stood up, took my phone like an idiot and walked away. I am still processing the whole situation, don't know what to think, feel or do. After this conversation, I just feel like I got punched in the guts. Just a few days ago I was not even considering that we were a possibility. I am still here. I have no one to talk to about this, so I am just venting here. On breakfast, he sat very far away from me, did not look at me. I feel sick to my stomach. 4 p.m. I haven't seen him around at all. And now, for OP's final update. Last night at around 2 a.m., I was being miserable when I got a call from First Officer. I picked up the call. He asked me if he woke me up. I said that I was awake. He asked if I ate anything. I said no. He then asked if it's okay that he comes to my room. I said yeah. Seconds later, he's knocking on my door with takeout. I let him inside. It was awkward at first. He said he couldn't sleep nor eat, thought I might be having the same issue, so he brought us takeout and added that he wanted to clear things out. And we did. He apologized for his behavior, for snatching my phone, and said how besides it being a douche move, he shouldn't have acted on his anger, especially given the fact that he's a pilot. He must act better when angry. He asked me if I had feelings for GD. I said that I didn't. He asked me why am I still texting him. I told him there was no specific reason. I just needed a distraction because these few months and days were too much for me, and we don't talk much anyway. I didn't see my family in half a year, was alone on Eid. He was just there, available. That's it. He asked if we kissed or anything. I said the truth. We didn't. Anyhow, he then explained to me that he fell for me a while ago, nearly 2 years ago, when he still had a lot to go to become the captain. He told me how he questioned me here and there to see my views on the world. He said how I told him a few times just randomly that I've never been in a relationship. I do not want a long relationship, and if I do find a man that is good for me, I want it to end in marriage, as much as possible in accordance with our religion. He then continued to say how regardless of his last name and his family's wealth, he actually is paying his own debt for all the schooling abroad, and the debt was big. His father did not support his aviation dreams, sees pilots to be little more than truck drivers. At the time, nearly 2 years ago, he had so much yet to pay and he was so far from becoming the captain. He said that now that he is just few more lanes from 4 stripes, he was actually going to ask me to go official for just a few months for him to pay his debt so that he can completely focus on us. He never bothered to do it directly because I didn't go out with any guy, didn't communicate with any other guy more than he was comfortable seeing. He kinda took me for granted, security that cannot go away. And now that he is so close to getting a promotion, he heard I went out with another dude and a pour vinegar on wound. That guy happens to be a dude he mortally hates. That's why he reacted the way he did and felt like all of our bonding over the past nearly 2 years went to drain for GD out of all people. I apologized to him for this entire situation and told him that I thought I am hardcore cemented in friend zone given that he was around me for such a long time but never made an official move. I thought he behaved just how men naturally behave around women. He said he is not upset with me anymore and said how we already know each other so well and asked if I consider him to be a suitable man for myself. I said that I do. He asked me if I would end my private contact with the GD. I said that I would. He asked me if I would sign engagement contract to be legally his fiancé within a few days so that our official relationship will be engagement and actually ends in marriage as soon as he pays his loans. I said that I would. He told me what more he can pay at once or if I want another amount he could pay within some time. I said that I accept whatever he can do and won't burden him. He ended with saying, "Is this clear enough for you, madam? Are we official?" I laughed and said that now it is and yes, we are. And I took my phone, called the GD in front of him. He was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I turned on the speaker, showed him sign to be silent. I talked to the GD, explained to him in short what happened and he actually started laughing. I could hear he was smiling. He told me that even though FO is an ass, he is actually happy for us and that he thinks first officer is the one for me and that he will make me happy. I asked if he was angry at all. He said no and how he felt like he won't get much warmth from someone else's son anyway. GD apologized if he caused issues between us and said it was 100% his intention at first, but he thinks I'm a good girl and it's harem to do this to me. Wished us both good luck and safe flight back home. I ended the call. My first officer made a surprised face but didn't say anything. He told me that he was nervous about operating a flight with no sleep and no food and he knew this had to be done. Anyhow, we wrapped things up, ate, visibly relaxed. Right now we are sitting at the airport waiting for our plane to arrive to go back to our base. My cheeks hurt from smiling. I went from being the most miserable person to being the happiest. I still wonder if he will ever tell me what went on between him and GD though.
You know, I agree with him, OP. Rumors like these could quite literally ruin both your careers, especially his. Those Catty hosts deserved exactly what they got. They tried to ruin 2 people's livelihoods all because they got jealous. If you let them get away with it, they will surely do it again. And based on the audacity of how they did it, this was probably not the first time and they got away with it before. Also, congratulations on your engagement. Your future husband sounds like a man of principles and have a solid iron spine. Finally, if he ever does tell you what happened between him and GD, please make another update. Viewer support is the best way for me to remain independent and continue bringing you these daily videos, which will always be here on my channels for you to watch absolutely free. So please consider subscribing to me on Rumble and on YouTube. Both will be linked in the description box down below. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you even somewhat enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you really like it, consider subscribing to PattSun to never miss a future upload. Stay strong.